Hi everyone! I hope you guys are all doing really well, having some fun at home, along with getting a lot done for your schoolwork. I am just going to read you this week's story, The Garden. Before I get started, I want to talk about the target skill. So the target skill that we'll be focusing on as I read the story is the story structure. So be thinking about the characters and the setting where the story is taking place, and the events that happen in the story. Also, it discusses the genre. It is a fantasy, so this story is not true. You can look for characters that act like people and events that would not happen in real life. All right, our author is Arnold Lobel. Our story is called The Garden, a frog and toad story. Frog was in his garden. Toad came walking by. "What a fine garden you have, Frog," he said. "Yes," said Frog, "it is very nice, but it is hard work." "I wish I had a garden," said Toad. "Here are some flower seeds." "Plant them in the ground," said Frog. Soon you will have a garden." "How soon?" asked Toad. "Quite soon," said Frog. Toad ran home. He planted the flower seeds. "Now, seeds," said Toad, "start growing." Toad walked up and down a few times. The seeds did not start to grow. Are you guys reading the yellow words with me? Toad put his head close to the ground and said loudly, "Now, seeds, start growing." Toad looked at the ground again. The seeds still did not start to grow. Toad put his head down very, very close to the ground and shouted, "Now, seeds, start growing." Frog came running up to the path. "What is all this noise?" he asked. "My seeds will not grow," said Toad. "You are shouting too much," said Frog. "These poor seeds are afraid to grow." "My seeds are afraid to grow?" asked Toad. "Of course," said Frog. "Leave them alone for a few days. Let the sun shine on them. Let the rain fall on them. Soon your seeds will start to grow." Follow along in your books if you guys want to see the pictures. That night, Toad looked out of his window. "Drat!" said Toad. "My seeds have not started to grow. They must be afraid of the dark." Toad went out to his garden with some candles. "I will read the seeds a story," said Toad. "Then they will not be afraid." Toad read a long story to his seeds. All the next day, Toad sang songs to his seeds, and all the next day, Toad read poems to his seeds, and all the next day, Toad played music for his seeds. Toad looked at the ground. The seeds still did not grow. "What shall I do?" cried Toad. "These must be the most frightened seeds in the whole world." Then Toad felt very tired, and he fell asleep. "Toad, Toad, wake up," said Frog. "Look at your garden." Toad looked at his garden. Little green plants were coming up out of the ground. "Last," shouted Toad, "my seeds have stopped being afraid to grow." "And now you will have a nice garden too," said Frog. "Yes," said Toad, "but you were right, Frog. It was very hard work." All right, guys, there's your first story that we've been working on online. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Keep working hard. You're doing great.